him, do you do any Torah instruction, like in your home, like when you're apparently reading every day? And he said, no, I'm not qualified. He said, Michael, I think you are. And he didn't say anything. How dare you get outside the structure? You have to go through all these classes and schools and curriculums and get the label and the title rabbi. You know, they did it with John, I think it was John and Peter. Who are these uneducated ones? They said that when they were walking into town. How did they know they were the uneducated ones? Because they weren't dressed in the uniform of glory of man. They weren't dressed in the garb of the Pharisees or the Sadducees. You know, they have identifiable markings and garments. You know, so do the Christian, don't you know? The garments of righteousness. Put it on. How does that work? And so we have to enter into a religion, the Christian non-denominational camps wound up just dressing in a suit, and you wouldn't really know that they were Christian, right? Is it wrong to wear a robe that distinguishes you, that identifies you as a priest, as a Christian, as a rabbi, as anything? I don't think it's wrong. It's actually probably a good idea. And if we have it that way, well, now we're back out into man's rules. This is the camp they set up. This is the uniform they wear. This is the theology. When I was setting up whatever it is, certainly when I got ordained, we had a lot of work to do to write up and establish and then understand and defend your faith in all its tenets, all its form. Literally. Probably have it saved somewhere. Because I had to set it up when I was going to start a 501c3. The tenets of the faith. What exactly is it that you believe and teach? And it's not wrong. And so now when I see a website or someone asks me to check out a website, you go right to the first page or two and find the tenets. This is what we believe, what we teach. And it's a little bit suspect to me now because it's just copy. Because it's not what they teach. These are the hermeneutical rules and laws that we follow. No, it's not. Well, this is what we have written on the first page of the website. And it's in our 501c3 corporate documents. Right. And this is man's built structures. And so what do we do about that? See how it's getting? I mean, it's funny how my mind will take me here. I'm not really discussing all the things I'm throwing out at you guys. It demands a lot of careful discussion, study, and whiteboards. And no one really wants to do it. Who cares? Why bother me? Well, I'll tell you why I care. Because there's so much division. And there's so much, whatever's going on with the frazzled, fractured way, that we're never going to come to a unity. And we're going to need more rules and more law. Have to have it. These HOA people, these cops that I just got out of the airport, there's so many different groups of law and law enforcement. And don't the people need it? They do. They're frazzled mess and they won't abide in anything. It's a free-for-all. Yep. And that's what's going to happen when you can't govern yourself. And what am I saying, really? What did we have years ago? We didn't have so many people. And we had people who did the right thing. In other words, I'm not going to do this because it's going to infringe on them. And now you have people taking advantage. And they do, and they will take advantage. And you're going to have rules. And that's why you have rules, and that's why you have law, and that's why the law never, ever, ever goes away. The law of Yahweh You know it so well, you don't even need to be reminded. But you don't bully people, do you? Yeah, you kind of do. Do you? What does the Christian actually need? They just need a heads up on the matter, right? We have a lot to discuss with 1 Corinthians 5 and, well, even 2 Corinthians when Paul's saying, bring the guy back in, make sure you don't throw him away. What were you trying to do in 1 Corinthians 5 in the first place? That's the guy who's having sex with his stepmother. And what was his dad doing? What about the family? What about the local neighbors? And what about the ecclesia? He was coming into Sunday church and sitting down and having dinner with them. And Paul's saying, you're not even addressing it. He shouldn't be sitting down having dinner with you as if nothing was wrong. Is there something clearly wrong? Why don't you discuss it? In Matthew 18, did Paul bring that up in 1 Corinthians 5? Yeah, this is the problem with, churchianity. Well, the people I know were trying to deal with Scripture. Paul didn't mention Matthew 18 in 1 Corinthians 5. Throw him out on his ass. And believe me, I had some weird, whatever you want to call it, we engaged the whole thing, sort of, with one of the guys I did Matthew 18 with. I don't remember if we brought it up, but he was very, very good. We probably did bring it up. His name was Gary, very smart and objective. So I can't remember, so long ago, but the point is, I'm sure I brought it up. Do you Matthew 18 the guy before you throw him out as a 1 Corinthians 5 and not have him over for dinner? And what are we doing with the guy? All right, you're not kicking him out of, it's not excommunicated. God doesn't throw him out. Jesus says, I'll never ever leave you or forsake you. So what does that mean? He's always going to have you falling out into the hands of someone who'll get you back in. And it's not just a quippish little 1 John 1:9. It's part of the assembly that brings people back into the fold through repentance. And they get them to stop what they're doing, conquer the sin and the pitfalls, throw out the demons they're following, get them back to following the lead of the Holy Spirit, righteousness, and the rest of it. Is it all demonic and spiritual? Can the person just finally say, I don't want any part of it? Is that a spirit? Is that a human spirit and the volitional function of the human spirit? Or that finally says, I don't want any part of Yahweh and his people? Right? It's very interesting to look at. Where are you with it all? Right? 2 Corinthians, I think it's 13, says that Paul's telling you, go ahead and dokimado yourself. Yourself. You're supposed to be evaluating yourself. Test yourself to see if you're in the faith. Dokimado yourself to see if you have value. 1 Corinthians 11 talks about dokimadoing yourself before you participate in the communion service. And if you don't, there's a factor of discipline. He talks about many are sick and weak and dying. It's pretty serious, right? And I'm going. We don't have whiteboards to show you the structure and the intricacies of it. And can you, when you have 500 people, or even 50, even 100, and when they break down and go home on a Sunday afternoon, are they the ones who are in a frazzled mess? I've been to churches and I've seen the women, and they are a frazzled mess. A lot of them are seeing human viewpoint psychologists and taking big pharma for it. What I'm saying is Christianity is designed to get the people individually strengthened on their own 2 feet. And I'm going to say mentally, that's a re-engineering of the mind. You're not going to do it on a Sunday gathering. right? So are we doing this every day? We are. I don't know how I'm coming across to you guys, but um, I've been driving in traffic right now, so if I'm a little all over the place, look, I'm almost home. So we can just if you have any questions, let me know. Right? Hold on a second. Yeah. No, I dropped them off. Hold on a second. Hi. Hey, I recognize you. Why are you dressed for winter? You look like you're ready to go skiing. 83 Oak Ridge? Okay. You have Florida blood. Okay, thank you. It's 82 degrees. I don't think. Anyway, here I am back at the, where are we? And somebody, this lady was talking about the person we know who's kind of losing their mind. And now it's a talk all over the pool. And I realize once again that whether you know it or not, whether you do it or not, which I don't, people are talking about you. I've had it, and I'm actually naive to it because I don't do it, and I don't care to do it. I don't even care that people are doing it, but they know about you and they talk about you because this lady just did it. Everybody does it apparently. Uh, I, I don't. It's nice to be talked about in a good way, but people always somehow find a bad, critical thing to talk about. So, there you are. It's a nice place to live, but we live too close together. And for that, you need rules, HOA law, regulation, enforcement. And if you don't have it, you'll have people taking advantage, and in a bad way, really bad, actually. They'll bring in dogs and pit bulls and children and abusive boyfriends and what else did she say? I mean, she just rattled it all off. Businesses. One lady was running doing laundry for people, a laundry business, because the washing machines are only at 25 cents. Like, so jack up the price of the laundry to $5, and maybe that'll stop her. How about you just tighten up the enforcement of the HOA rules, which is what they had to do. And the lady became abusive and a bully. Now who are you going to call? She's a tenant. You're going to call the owner of the co-op who lives in another country. You know, how's it going to, what are we supposed to do? Well, get a bunch of laws and rules, and then you get somebody who's going to enforce it. They're going to have to be a little mean and throw you out. Yeah, and that's how it goes. And even if you just lived on your own piece of dirt, you still have what? Your neighbors have 5 cars on the front lawn, and they painted the house hot pink, and it's unsightly. Or maybe we should all just have 50 acres and never have any. Yeah, is that it? Come on, help me out. Let's talk about it. No, let's not. Yeah, let's. Here we are. I have a neighbor to the left of me 4 feet and to the right of me 10 feet, and then another 20. Gonna have to get along, right? Communicate. So, what is the nature? Now, what's the heart of the neighbor? See it? We're going to say neighborly love. Love is in the heart. Do we need the HOA rules? Yep, still need them. One of my neighbors has a good heart. The other one's a little selfish. You don't realize it, Steve, but they actually do fight and they yell at each other, and they're not as nice as you think. Can I go home now? Anyway, I am home. So let me just go inside and try and and I can't walk because it's windy. And let's see. I just talk in circles, but I'm always going to bring up the human condition, and it's always going to come back kind of where I take it, where I took it, and where it's just the way it is. You've got to look at it and understand who you are and how you're uh, functioning and operating. And I'm not even sure you have to be cognizant of how you operate. You just have to keep coming to Bible class and assimilating knowledge so that God Himself can actually fix your neighborly heart. That love will grow. And hold on a minute. I'm even realizing where I sit in this place, what these people are really all about. Because if you don't conform to the rules, you're going to be talked about. Okay. Sweet home. That is. So, any thoughts and contributions? Yeah. Is each HOA though? I mean, an HOA ultimately has the master management, and that's a Jewish guy, no doubt. More than that. Yeah. 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 I know. It makes me not want to. Yeah, it's probably that way with even inside a person's home. You know. Hmm. Well, is a lot to discuss. This is the rulership of mankind, and there's a. It really is. So that's why we're being told, certainly in Peter, and it turns out in Paul's too, writings that you're obeying the rules, the laws, because
It is how mankind is ruled. Uh, Rules, which is codified into law, is just standards of behavior and ultimately your thinking. I mean, it's, let's just say it's God who governs the thinking, or at least fixes the thinking. If you want to look at, it's all in the thoughts first. Rules, regulations, and laws are really behavior, even if they're trying to get you to conform to standards where it involves your thinking and structure. In the end, it has to occur. And when it does occur, you have a stable society because there's unity. Everybody's doing it this way, and it's the right way. Right meaning wherever where you get your rights and wrongs, or righteous standards, or however way you can see a collective functioning properly, which would be in peace, harmony, even unity, and we get things done. So you all have productivity. Productivity is it's always a measure, even in God's economy. So what is Galatians 5? The Spirit of God in you is trying to get you to work with Him to produce those characteristics. Once they've been produced, let's give each one of them some spectrum of development. Do you think He wants them to be maxed out? At some point, He said there's no need for law. It's already been established in you, and this is what it produced. This is the righteousness of the law. It's produced a love for God and a love for people. So why do I get so bothered with the bullies and the law, whatever's? And well, if you were fully conformed to all these laws and rules, you'd have absolutely no concern. So what's your problem, right? And I've always been law-abiding, paying your bills and trying to help your neighbors and all the rest of it. So what I've discovered, as God take me through it, I guess, in a certain way, was that you really don't have anything with your so-called friends or loved ones. You don't have anything with them. And you'll find that out when you don't conform to something about their ways or wants specifically. And these HOA people want, there's a big want package, a bully package. What do they want? They want you to conform to the rules. And if you don't, it affects their want factor that's not met, their unfulfilled wants. They'll be mean. That's a matter of the heart. See how it ties together? It's interesting. The human condition. So you'll have friends and family and Christians say, why don't you just conform? What if I can't? What if economically I can't? You all just got together and imposed some easement, and now we all got to come up with $5,000 to fix the whatever roof. Yeah. What if the economics aren't the same in this house? What if you got the $1 million in the bank and the other person's struggling? Some people will say, oh, so-and-so is so nice, and they're so generous, and they paid for apartment C. What about apartment D? Well, anyway, one met my criteria and the other one didn't. And so I paid for them, but not for them. And besides, here it is, they should. Why don't they? It's their fault. I know that person drinks and blah, blah, blah. And they're divorced and, they're living with somebody. I mean, they know everything about you in the negative. See what I'm getting at? So how are we all supposed to get along, and how are we supposed to do it? Is it a communal effort. But it actually does appear that way, certainly in the beginning of Acts, that the church was communal. They sold everything, and well, they had Peter and John, men of integrity, to establish an HOA for the Christians. How'd that work? And how did it work when we were growing up, or back in the day when things were not so many rules? And why are there so many rules? You're going to have, when you have love leave the building, you will have the viciousness of the human condition, the selfishness. Yeah, it really is that. They're going to wind up in their own SELF program. And now you're going to have a fight. You'll have a fight and factional infighting. You just do. And then we'll have more laws and more rules. I used to call it, when the way back, reactionary policy. You can't not, especially if you got a bunch of lawyers or HOA leaders who see problems developing. Make another rule, and this way we can enforce it. And what I'm getting at, this is more human conditions, is that if the second heavens made that declaration, we will rule like the Most High God. Okay, let's see you rule these guys. That's how I see it. That's really Genesis 1-2. I'll restore this, if I put it on the board, the big picture. I'll restore this whole thing. I'll make this creature. You will prove to me. And he puts him in charge. First thing they did, was go after the rulers, and they did that by going after the second in command. See it? Okay, now we secured rulership. Now let's get to work. You put some clothes on. And so where did it go from there? Where did it go from there? And what was really going on? Well, it's still going on. And this is why big picture stuff, and you really have to actually have it in your mind to always try to find the big picture. It's fascinating to actually see it. And then you can see some of the details, but it's really what's happening, and it's in play, and God's allowing it, and he's telling his people, conform to my ways, and I'll help you conform to the world's ways or to wherever you're living, and you'll prove a point for me, says Yahweh. And I really, if the Christians can't get it going, what are we really all about? And it's one of the reasons why I say love is a power. It's powerful. The love of God in it. And these spiritualists, I'm going to start calling the Pentecostals spiritists, think that it's spirit. They don't know love. Sorry. I don't know what they know. I don't want to poke at them too much, but what is this thing, love, that God pours out in you? It's knowledge and understanding. You're saved by information, truth, and you better use it. And love is a component that comes along with it. And it's God who is love, and it's God who is in you using the truth. Do you see the combination? God, which is love, and truth, God is truth, work together in you, Mr. Christian. It's a power dynamic that is unstoppable, insurmountable, actually. When God develops that in you and me, which is really the program, you'll be saved in everything. You'll seek out truth. You'll learn to use it. You'll know how to use it. He'll help you use it. When you use it, it can even be tested, persecuted, put down, and the rest of it. So I guess you'd think we have a long way to go, right? Maybe it sounds like I do because I always get a little snarly. It's because I just uh, basically express myself to you. You can have these thoughts, identify it all, and express it, and then go deal with somebody and not be so snarly to their face. I've proven myself to be snarly to people's faces. I remember it being years ago, for the longest part of my life, not that way. I was over the top gracious. I don't really even think that was wrong, but I determined somewhere along the line in the last 15 years that that's not really the way to go. That hyper grace never challenges anybody who's doing something wrong to you. To you. Is that persecution? Is that evil manifesting? Is that a lack of their love towards you? It's very complicated to look at. And in the end, what I determined was you still give them grace. That's love working towards sinners. If you see something wrong, you tell them. Don't come at me like that. You're not listening to the reasoning I'm giving you. So that's where I've gone with it. And I don't think that's wrong. So let me just say, I went from hyper grace to I'm going to say something. And it turns out that saying something has to correspond to you giving them a heads up about their wrongdoing. Now, what if they're not listening? That's when I seem to get a little short or snarly. Am I wrong? I'll have to say yes. I'm working on that. I get that way when someone's not listening. Listen, please. I'll even say that. Look, and I keep trying, and then it gets to a point where I'll yell and get them out of my face, get them out of my presence, and get them away from me and their backstabbing ways. And I'm not 100% wrong with that. Okay, I don't know if I'm making sense to you guys. I determined that with the COVID scam. I'm not going to make it easy for these people. It's going to be a very uncomfortable event coming at me with that lie. It's killing people. There's a lot of women I'm coming across, just young 40s, 50s, whose husbands are dead. They're widows. And I don't know them. I'm not going to talk about it, but did you get the jab? Anyway, let's not go into that, right? My point is with that, I determined, and I was on my own with that. All my Christian friends shut up and moved away from me. And I mean, really dropped out of a conversation and a relationship, friendship, because I said that. And I wore underwear on my face with things written on it. Government scam. Don't do it. Okay, so my point there, you guys know my position now. It's out there. I don't care. I'll tell you right now. If you don't see that and hold that as a position yourself, then you're making it evil an easy pass. And that's what I determined years ago that the hypergrace was doing. I was giving evil a pass every time. Oh, they have a right to live their life as they see fit unto the Lord. Lord, who? It's a interesting, phrase, dynamic to operate in, principle. But when do you do something other than just give them a pass on it, i.e., grace? When they're in trouble, it's wrong to do that to somebody and to me. That's a hard discussion back then with that scam. But it turns out that there was nobody on the fence with that. If you saw it, you were in agreement, one way or the other. Put your damn mask on, or yeah, I get it. Was that an identifying feature of our society and culture? Yes. How easy was it, and what was it all about? And who did I listen to find the truth? And so on. And I'll tell you what else I learned during the COVID scam. That people weren't looking for the truth. It was pretty easy to find it. I was doing my best to bring it. So if you didn't make a covenant with the truth, if you don't love the truth, if you're not seeking the truth, then you ain't getting it. Your chances are you're operating in a non-truth, i.e. lie bubble. And when truth comes, it's a real not so pleasant thing, is it? Truth hurts, truth pokes, and the truth will save you. How does that happen? See, this is really the point of it. God's going to save you with truth and information. Go ahead and get it, find it, and articulate it. Don't be afraid of the pushback. Yeah. Well, that's where I wound up with my grace ideas. I'm going to tell you now. It's not easy. People don't make it easy for you when you tell them something. 10 out of 10. I'll certainly say 99 out of 100. You're going to get the cold shoulder. Sometimes you'll get the real lashing pushback verbally. So far, I haven't ever gotten into anything physical. But it could be. It could easily have been physical. So you back off. I mean, that's evil to bully somebody and they're not listening, right? So is that Jesus saying, don't throw the pearls to pigs? They'll trample it and you. Yes, that's what he's saying. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for truth seekers. Now there's truth seekers out there. Now what do we do when they're not really seeking the truth of all matters, just certain areas? Well, if you bump into a Christian, right? In all matters, they seek out the truth and they know how to handle the truth. They love the truth. It assimilates right quick into their thinking. God will help them express it and articulate it. And there's always a kindness to it, i.e., helping you see the truth, listening to your reasoning. And that's my point about me defending myself. I get real short when people don't listen to reason. They are unreasonable and therefore unruly. Then they're going to have to be ruled. So we have an HOA rule book. Off with your head. I see how complicated it gets. Yes, the only way to actually see it is to pull each one out, completely out, train them over here, and you'll see the distinctions. Even in this conversation that's one-sided, thank you for listening. You really can't talk about it. You're spinning your wheels, like it sounds like what I'm doing. You have to take each person out completely, pull them out, get them out of there, to remove them from that little company, that class, and put them over here. And by the end of the day, we'll have a whole gymnasium full of people that you pulled out of each classroom. And then you can train them. And that'll be your special group, special forces. That's exactly how you should see Christianity. It's a great illustration. Otherwise, if you leave them, let's say non-segregated, then they won't get trained right, and they won't even conform right. They won't even understand their own function in a way of cohesiveness, like camaraderie and unity. Christians, wherever they meet, should gravitate to each other. And well, it's like that in a lot of things. I mean, if you were in another country and you found an American, you'd gravitate. If you were with a bunch of Muslims and you found a Christian, you'd gravitate. You'd stay in close proximity. So that's kind of, I guess I'll stop. I'm going to keep going, but that's really an interesting look at the way we are, the way we operate, the human condition. God's fixing, yes, He is. Training, giving you understanding. You're holding on to it, operating with it. If you find somebody who's doing the same thing, you could actually marry them. The devil will try to get in between that. And so now you have a lot of other things to think about. That makes sense. And what's the movement? Maybe you don't know the word that you could identify as hypergrace these days. It's ecumenicalism. It's where they're looking at all the isms and taking all the good parts of it and bringing it together, so to speak. Yeah, liberalism. There's no more standard, no more truth. It's everything's relative. Just what? I mean, in the end, it's a mess, and it's common. And he's gonna always play nice and wear a happy face. That's actually the Antichrist. Yeah, the Antichrist is gonna be that way. Mhm. Yeah, people are gonna follow. Mhm. Yeah, and if you'd have to, if you were trying to defend that remark, it's not that easy, and most people aren't gonna understand what you're saying. You don't even have to defend it. I get it, but let's just say the 90%. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, that's what I. But when you have the 90 something percent following and arguing, you have a small percentage that see what you're saying, agree with it, and that's what I mean by separating yourself. And that's what God's doing. That's a small number of people. Christianity, I mean, it's a fascinating dynamic that God orchestrated with the devil through the Roman system to bring the God of the Bible and the Bible all over the world. How about that? The devil has his fingers in it with all the idolatry and all the now ridiculous doctrines, but in the end, God's going to use it because, well, it brings God of the Bible and the Bible. It's really all that counts. So once you get that into the hands of certain individuals, they'll separate themselves from the herd and start looking at it. And that's the Christian. It's not big numbers. Um, I don't even know what to say about Christianity around here or in my life or me as a Christian. But I'm trying to figure it out. Whiteboards are very useful. And I think I understand some things. So, onward and upward, move into the light, into the truth, into righteousness and love, the love of God. You do the right thing, you find the right standards, you conform as best you can, you watch out for people who are evil, who are duplicitous, not listening to your reasoning. And in the end, like what you got, if you have a neighbor that's like, my neighbors aren't like that. If you have somebody that's that bad, you sit there and go, do I really want to live here? So, you know, uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, if you want to, you got anything else? You got anything on the agenda? Well, does that mean we have to watch the movie then? So what are you saying? Go there, so, no, I mean, are you saying go there, watch the movie and then take the second hour and critique it? No, but I mean, you're saying we're gonna go watch the movie. You're setting up the movie?
It's a good movie
So
if you
that's what
haven't
you're saying.
watched it.
What's that?
It's a good movie if you haven't watched it. 600 million other people thought so, I think.
I did watch the first season. I liked the first couple of episodes. I did watch it. Uh, okay. Well, so I guess we can do that. You might have other people coming if you're just gonna if you're watching movies. People will they'll assemble for that. So uh, mm, okay. Mm, okay. We'll take it as it comes. Okay.
Did you see it, Kev? I thought it was well done, actually.
Okay. We'll do that. Okay. Yeah. We're definitely not gonna do that. All right.